DJ, last episode you went out on a limb. It's our gambling podcast, so you had to do a game of the year at some point. You got it wrong. We talked about a punishment. We didn't come up with anything at the time. However, I took the liberty today of deciding your punishment, and I know that you don't want to do it, but you're going to do it. So, DJ, you are going to read exactly how I wrote it. The line that I have on our agenda by each game that we talk about after you get done giving your take on the game. Are you ready for this?
Go fuck yourself.
Let's get loaded. That was in unison, kind of query. Where we never finished first?
Because we finished last.
Man, we really helped each other out on that one. But yes, this is the Loaded Box Podcast. I haven't even gotten to take a drink of my beer yet because there's just chaos there. And I feel like, are you still trying to open your beer? What's happening over there?
Oh, waiting for you to stop talking so I can do it.
Fair enough. That was a good crack. What are you drinking there?
It's called Modern Times Beer Coffee Restless Nights. It's a bourbon barrel-aged coffee porter with bourbon barrel-aged beans.
That sounds fantastic. I also think that maybe is it named correctly? So like you're going to drink it at night here and you're literally going to have like no sleep because it's got that coffee in it and you're not going to be able to fall asleep. What's going to happen to you?
Shit don't faze me.
Shit don't faze me. But yes, this is the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben Morgan. That is DJ Primo. DJ is mentally preparing to have to read all of these statements for however many games there are this week. I have that many statements that you're going to see as you go along, especially if you've listened to us before. They're basically things that DJ doesn't want to say, but damn it, he's going to say them today. It's our second preview podcast of the week. If you missed out on the one earlier this week, it's our fantasy football related podcast. This one, however, is our gambling podcast. We're going to go game by game straight up against the spread. We're going to give our picks, the ones that we card. We're going to especially highlight. Speaking of them, DJ, I went 2-2 last week. I finished plus 1 unit, bringing my year-to-date record to 21 wins, 19 losses. However, I am down 2 units. You, on the other hand, 1-4 last week.
Perfect.
You dropped 11 units, including your game of the year, which you're going to pay for today.
Nope.
Bringing your year-to-date record to 21, 36, and 1 tie for a Loaded Box Podcast record, negative 47 units. Outside of having to say a bunch of stuff at the end of your breakdown today, what's your strategy going into Week 12? You need to make a change of some sort.
I'm going 9-game card, 5 units a game, winning every one of them, and getting all these units back. We either go broke or we get back to even and then start getting rich. This has got to be the poorest I've ever made anybody in my time. This is one of the worst years of my life. This is great. It's fun, though. You know, it's great. It's entertaining for the listeners. You can make fun of me. You can fade me. Honestly, if you're fading me, you're welcome because you're rich. So one way or the other, I'm winning you a shit ton of money right now. You're 36, 21, and 1. You're welcome. And also, by the way, I said in the bet that it wasn't even a bet. I said, if I don't win this, I'll do something. And I already did something. You guys just don't have any idea what it is.
Well, I took the liberty of making you do something else, so I'd hope that you
I
would
didn't say something else.
I'd hope that maybe you would just respect me. You would respect the podcast more than anything, and you would respect our listeners. Play the game.
No,
Play the game.
Something and something else are two different things. I said I would do something, not something else.
I tell you what, DJ, I'm going to give a spoiler out to the listeners. My game of the year is in this episode. If I get it wrong, you can pick whatever you want me to do. I took the liberty. I get to decide as your podcast partner. I get to decide what your punishment is. I went through today. I took time to do this. You're going to play by my rules. Game number 1, Dolphins at Browns. Browns favored by 10.5, over under a 44.5. Go, DJ. And when you're done, you know what to do.
I don't even know what I'm actually supposed to. Am I supposed to just say it now?
No, when you're done giving your analysis, I want you to read what I have written down for you.
Okay. Dolphins, Browns. All these words in this note, the last 2 podcasts that we've done are really fucking with me because I'm like, where's the spread? Is there anything? Browns, Dolphins. All right, so Browns are favored by 10.5. That's a huge spread
Big
for a
time.
Browns game. A Dolphins team that's actually been playing pretty decent, and the defense is playing well. I'm not going to card this game. So I'm going to have to card the rest probably in order for me to order like multiple bets on each game going further. But I can't. Let's just say I won't card the number or against the spread because 10.5 is way too many points to lay for the Browns, and it does seem a little ratty. Like that does seem like too many points. Like the Dolphins should stay within that double-digit number, but that whole rat line where the Browns again are favored by way too much, like they were last week. They shouldn't have been favored at all. It didn't feel like is a rat line. So it makes me lean the Browns if I had to bet it against the spread because of the radishness it has to it. And I'm not talking about the vegetable or whatever that is. So I'm leaning that way, straight up and against the spread. Just because, like I said, I'm going anti what I'm thinking here.
I like it.
It doesn't make sense. Browns minus 10.5. I got to lean the Browns. The 10.5 does not make sense. It's a rat line. I'm not taking the cheese and betting the Dolphins. I'm staying with the Browns. Do I say it now?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind saying the line that I have for you here, I'm sure we would all enjoy it.
As a Packers fan, I would trade Aaron Rodgers for Matt Ryan in a heartbeat.
Every Vikings fan in the world that's ever listened to this podcast is just loving that moment. Oh, they only get better from there, DJ. They only get better. I am surprised that I'm surprised. I think DJ might have just looked ahead, and I think he proceeded to spit beer on his computer.
I almost threw up everywhere. I just peeked at the next one, and I haven't lost my shit. And I'm not going to try not to look at the rest. Now they're going to be sitting on edge waiting for it, and I kind of like the cliffhanger. The next one, I almost spit my beer everywhere.
Good. I figured maybe you'd look ahead, but I like it. Maybe it's better as a surprise. But
oh my God.
To this game, though, I'm surprised you didn't card this one because I almost considered carding this one for the Dolphins. Obviously, straight up, I like the Browns. But for everything you said against the spread, I'm all about the Dolphins in this game. The only thing that maybe they have going for them is it's not in Miami. It's in Cleveland. Miami's not traditionally the best team that's going to play on the road, but it's not like it's super cold yet. You're not going to have those harsh conditions that they historically don't play well in. This is going to be a game that I could see them competing in. I do think it's the breakout game for Odell and for Baker, but they're without Myles Garrett. They're going to be who knows what the hell's going to happen from that last game that they were in. I like the Dolphins staying within 10.5 in this one. I almost carded it. If it wasn't for me being a Dolphins fan, this would be on my card. I will say it's kind of like an unofficial pick. I would tell people to bet on the Dolphins in this game. I'm not personally going to do it, but I would tell you to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still leaning the Browns because of that radish line.
Well, it's not the vegetable. That's great. Well, that kind of means you're going to have to card a lot of these next ones. So let's move on to the Broncos. They're at Buffalo to play the Bills this week. Got the Bills favored by 3.5 with an over-under of 37.5.
It seems as if the Bills. I have a strategy I just came up with what I'm going to do in this, and maybe you'll get it as I go. You'll probably get it in the first game that I pick. I have a new strategy already. Just came up with it off the top of my head for what games I'm going to start carding. It seems like the Bills should be an obvious pick in this one. Good defense going up against the Broncos, who have a backup quarterback and Brandon Allen holding the spot essentially for Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Bills' offense was explosive last week. I worry about the Bills scoring, though, in this game. I really do. And I think the Broncos could keep this close. So, I mean, that 3.5 hook number makes me nervous. I think like I said, I think this could be a low-scoring Broncos keep it close game, and it would may lead the Broncos. So I'm going to go Bills minus 3.5.
Nice. So I'm totally with you on this one, but I almost ruined it for myself.
I'm unity it.
Let me not interrupt. Let me get back to your statement after this game.
Hold on, let me type this in real quick.
Okay.
Broncos at Bills minus 3.5.
Fair enough. You got it. Bills 3.5.
I'm doing the Bills minus 3.5 after telling you I want to take the Broncos. I just want you guys to realize that.
All right. I got what you're doing already.
Okay. So Tyreek Hill is the kind of guy I want my son looking up to as he gets older.
Thank you for that.
God.
That's shocking coming from you. I'm a little surprised. You seem to be anti-Tyreek back in the day.
If people ever looked at my Twitter, they would know how I actually feel about Tyreek Hill.
We don't need your reasons today. I mean, you said it. You said it.
You got to read my tweet from the other night. It was great.
I'll have to go back and check that out. I'm with you, dude. I almost carded this one. The hook scares me. And as a bettor, I'd pay a little extra. I'd make it 3, and I would happily take the Bills straight up and against the spread in this game. Dude, we saw the Broncos almost pull up just a crazy upset on the road against a good Vikings team, and we saw them absolutely just collapse in the second half. We saw that an offense can have their way with that defense. I don't think that their offense is sustainable right now with Brandon Allen. They might have a drive here and there where they look okay, they get some things done. I just don't see it happening. In Buffalo is a terrible place to play. I'm actually not even scared of the hook. This is another one. I'm not officially carding it, but man, I am teetering on this one. I'm really considering on Sunday. We'll see how Saturday night treats me. Maybe I'll just go in there and plug in a Bills bet. But man, I like the Bills this week.
Feeling it.
Next, Steelers -6.5 at the Bengals with an over/under of 39. What do you have here?
So 6.5 points on the road against the Bengals. I don't know. Mason Rudolph stinks. Somebody's gonna smash his helmet against his head. Jalen Samuels is, the quarterback. I think this is the guy that they actually want to be the quarterback, but they let Rudolph be out there because they don't want. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because they just don't trust Jalen to throw enough. But really, Jalen's the guy who they want the ball in the hands of because Mason stinks. Honestly, I don't remember the backup's name, but I know his nickname is Duck. He might be a better option at this point. Mason stinks. He stinks. They just lost to the Browns, who have been playing terrible, and their defense has been playing great. In a rat game. This is a weird one. I don't know. We've got a backup. This is an ugly game. How ugly is this game?
It's super ugly. That's why you're kind of leaning into what I'm gonna say.
Is this the ugliest game of all time?
No, that was Dolphins' our words.
So I think the Steelers will end up winning this straight up. I'm gonna bet on this game. I think this is gonna be super low scoring, like 10-3. So I'm gonna go the over 39.
So yeah, you're just staying true. So basically, what you're saying is, oh shoot, I keep interrupting you. I'm gonna let you.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna let you finish here.
I personally believe you should be able to put in a free agent auction bid of $0 when trying to claim someone on the waiver wire.
Ooh, I like that idea. That's a good idea. We should tell our league manager about that. I'm with you here on the Steelers straight up. I absolutely like that. But yes, I'm super hesitant right now on that Steelers offense, even against the Bengals. However, Bengals offense, nothing to write home about. And you said it. Steelers defense has been pretty solid, especially after they've got Minkah Fitzpatrick. That secondary looks like a whole different ballgame. Devin Bush has been baller. The defense is good. Over/under of 39 in a program is super low. However, Steelers offense doesn't impress me. Steelers defense does impress me. Bengals offense, they're probably not going to score all that much. This game looks terribly low at 39. However, against the spread, my pick here would be under. Once again, I sound like a broken record. Not an official play, but man, I'm teetering on this. I'm teetering on so many of them because I liked so many of these, like almost there, that I would have had way too many carded plays. So I really backed down to the ones I was the most confident in. But this is another one, just like the first couple, that if I was going to pick something on this game, which I might come Sunday, I really like the under.
That's why we're going over, baby.
I love it. Let's move on to, you wanted to talk about ugly. How about the Giants at the Bears? The Bears with a questionable Mitchell Trubisky are favored by 6 points, over/under of 40. What do you have here?
See, this is a game where I'm gonna go with my actual instinct in this one. Giants at Bears -6. Another rat-looking line for me here. The Giants should easily be able to cover this game. -6 on the road against a team struggling to score, period. Their decimated Bears are on defense with all these injuries, with Trevathan kind of struggling up front, not able to set the run. You think Saquon could have a monster game against this Bears defense because you think he should be able to run here. But with that being said, -6 is way too many points to give the Bears against any football team.
Bingo.
And for that reason, I am going to take the Bears. Card that. -6 doesn't make any sense to me. Fucking -6 Bears, card it. 5 units. That's unbelievable.
Also, the next line that you're about to say on this podcast might be the favorite thing that I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
All right, here we go. I like how you set it up for me. Oh, 40. I never had the 40. Ben, you're right. I am better than
you. You don't understand how much joy I'm getting out of this. All right, DJ. Straight up, I'm taking the Bears against the spread. Taking the Giants, though. Wouldn't be surprised if they outright won this. What we witnessed in that last Bears game when they played against the Rams, I believe that was the Sunday night game, was some of the most disappointing football I had ever watched. I even took the Bears against the spread in that game, thinking, you know what? Rams offense hasn't been clicking. Robert Woods was a late scratch. Brandon Cooks was a no-go. They didn't even give Cooper Kupp the ball the last game, what they played before that. I'm like, all they got to do is key in on Todd Gurley. Guess what? The Bears haven't been able to stop the run the way that they used to. And their pass defense and Khalil Mack, like, they can get to the quarterback. They're just not doing it near as consistently as I would want them. The Giants are a total wild card. This would be the first game on the schedule this week where I would just say, don't bet. Just leave this shit show alone. Don't bet on it. But if I have to, I'm taking the Giants because, yeah, Saquon can run against anybody. He can maybe find some holes against this defense and make it happen. I trust Danny Dimes more than I trust anyone that's going to play quarterback for the Bears, regardless of what happens to Trubisky's hip. Go ahead.
The thing about this game is, and why I can, adding on to the reason why I convinced myself to go with the Bears, I didn't even think about this, why I decided to go with the Bears, but Danny Dimes, or Dan, whatever, fuck, a stupid name.
Dan Dimes, he's older now, that's right.
Daniel Dimes, yeah. Throws interceptions up the wall, like Yahoo. Like, that's what he does. And this is a defense that has been just drooling and waiting for an opportunity
to
just feast on a quarterback. This could be it. It doesn't make sense for the Bears to be favored by 6 ever. Like, it just doesn't. Maybe that's the reason, because he's a turnover machine this year. I just died again.
Yeah, you did.
Like, I feel better and better the more I talk about this. I'm going with my instinct, so maybe fade me here, but I'm going with my instinct on this one.
I just still feel like it's the ultimate game to just avoid. I do have a unit on this next one. I'll let you kick it off first. It's the Raiders. They're favored by 3 at the New York Jets with an over-under of 46.5.
So I'm a Sam Darnold believer. I back this guy. I've been backing him, and now it's starting to come to fruition. He's making me look better. I love it. I grabbed him in some fantasy leagues late. Obviously didn't work out. I was able to pick him back up though, and got a good game out of him as of recently.
Right.
Raiders have also been playing pretty well as of late. Better, arguably better. I'm not sure if they're better than the Chiefs or not. I don't think they are. I think when it comes down to the Chiefs and Raiders, it's just who can outscore who. And I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes in that type of situation. Patrick Mahomes is going to outscore Derek Carr because defensively, the Raiders and the Chiefs, they're almost on like the same page. So with that being said, I do think I don't know. I don't know who's going to win that game, but I am going to bet I'm going to card the over in this one. This is another instinct pick, so feel free to fade me on this one. This is my actual instinct. 46.5 doesn't seem like enough points for two teams that I just don't think will be able to stop each other. Josh Jacobs, the way Derek Carr is playing, Saquon and Sam Darnold and Gase trying to finally look like he can throw the ball. Maybe they can get to Sam Darnold and stop him from scoring. I think there'll be a few sacks, but I still think he'll be able to air it out against this Raiders secondary and not have any issues moving the ball up and down the field. I love the over in this game. I can see the Raiders around 35 points, honestly, in this game. So, Jets Raiders over 46.5. Lock that in. 5.
And the line that you owe us?
Why is this one bold? Oh, yeah. I think Tim Tebow could have made it as a starting NFL quarterback if Denver would have just stuck with him rather than signing Peyton Manning.
Man, I agree. What a statement. You mentioned the Raiders there, like actually playing pretty good. I never imagined through their first 10 games that they would be 6-4. That's a little bit better than what I had them when we did our predictions. They had such a tough schedule, but they've been hanging in there. However, 6-4 straight up. They are 1-3 on the road. Like I said with Buffalo, New York's not an easy place to play either. Not only do I think the Jets cover this one, I think the Jets win this one straight up. If I were you, I would sprinkle a little bit on the money line. However, I'm going to take my points. I'm going to take the 3 points that I'm getting. I'm going to card it for 1 unit because I'm with you. I want more time to evaluate Sam Darnold, but I like what I've seen in the last couple of weeks. I think they're going to continue to just progress forward here as the schedule gets a little bit easier. They went through a hell of a run there for a while, especially when Sam Darnold was out. You said Saquon Barkley in your analysis. I think you meant to say Le'Veon Bell. At some point, he's going to have a breakout game. This might be it, and expect him to get a couple more touches out of the backfield as a receiver as well. I'm going to card this one. I'm going 1 unit on the underdog at home New York Jets. If you're feeling ballsy, if you're feeling a little bit like DJ, why don't you go ahead and sprinkle a little bit on that money line as well?
If you're feeling froggy, Edward, leap.
Do you have a question? I feel like you're asking a question.
Nope, if you're feeling froggy, leap.
If you're feeling froggy, leap. We've got, this is an NFC South spread of 9.5. The Panthers are visiting the Saints. Saints favored by 9.5. Over under of 46.5. DJ, what do you got?
All right, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this Tar Heel game on. That's why I didn't get what you were saying.
So lost.
This is a really, really tough one. In a division battle, for a team to be favored by 9.5 points is a lot. How many games do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, okay, plenty of games. I don't have to card this game because I don't like this game at all. I'm going to stay away from this one. I would lean the Panthers because 9.5 points is way too many points to lay here. Way too many points against the Saints team that I'm a little bit worried about explosiveness wise right now. I don't know. They might be better with Teddy Bridgewater. That's a hot take. They probably aren't. Drew Brees is probably the better quarterback and just getting back into it.
Play both sides of it. There you go.
Yeah, they probably aren't. But it's like they look a little bit slower, less energetic. It just doesn't look right. And maybe, I don't know, maybe teams like when Mahomes went out, sometimes teams step up, play a little bit harder when they have to support a backup quarterback with a talented team, and they'll get back to the norm. So it's probably just a completely idiotic saying, and I kind of already take it back. But it's still way too many points to lay. I know Kenny Allen had a rough game. I don't think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, but I don't think he's as bad as what he was last week against the Falcons team. That's playing just out of its fucking mind right now.
Sure.
Doesn't make any sense to me right now.
Yeah.
So I would, if I'm betting on this game, I would definitely lean the Panthers. 9.5 points is way too much. Division rivalry against the good Panthers secondary. I know they're struggling to stop the run, but that's way too many points for two good football teams. I can't do it.
But you're not going to card this one?
I'm not going to card it.
All right. Well, I'll let you say your next line here. Looks like you have a player that you really like.
Yeah, Mark Walton, another one of my favorite players in the NFL.
Beautifully done. So, yeah, I agree with you. And if there's one thing that I've kind of taken into consideration when I've been doing more betting, it's the fact that teams bounce back. Carolina looked absolutely worthless last week. Now you're going into New Orleans, you would think like, oh, God, they're going to look terrible again. Saints are always one of the best home teams. You have the Hall of Famer and Drew Brees. You got Alvin Kamara probably coming into his own, about to start balling. You got Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers in the NFL. The bounce back thing is real. Vegas has this number set for an absolute reason. If it can get to 10, I really like Carolina. I'm not going to cover it, but I like that idea. And I like the bounce back because I do see the Saints scoring, but I don't see the Panthers putting up an absolute dud again. I think they're going to get McCaffrey back rolling. That's going to make Josh Allen have a little bit better opportunity to actually make plays down the field. If anything in this game, the 46.5 point total, I like the over in this one. This is another one of those games I'm kind of teetering on, not making it official, but I would say bet the over.
Teeter-totter.
Teeter-totter, Bucks and Falcons, another one of your favorite teams. Falcons, after 2 wins, they're now favored in a game by 4.5, over under of 51.5.
I mean, this fucking team, this fucking Falcons team. I want to put on an airplane and fly to the side of a fucking mountain. Because I am done with these guys. Just end it. Honestly, just put Matt Ryan on the airplane, fly him into the mountain. I'm good with the Falcons. I'd be fine. I would cheer for the Falcons if they'd fly Matt Ryan in a private jet into the side of a mountain. I'm good. Get rid of Matt Ryan. I can jump back on the Falcons as they beat my ass I just don't understand how all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're going to start getting sacks. I don't believe in them. And still, I told you guys I'm going to bet against the Falcons every single week. That's what I've said I'm going to do. I've done it every single week since I wasn't betting on them and giving the advice. I've gone 0-2 in those 2 weeks. So in the interest of keeping going with that trend, betting the Bucks plus the 4.5 makes a lot of sense, and that's what I want to do. So let's jump on the Falcons minus 4.5, 5 units. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. If I bet against them, they win, and if I bet for them, they lose. So take that for what it's worth. I'm jumping on the Falcons 5 units. Fuck it.
It's funny, earlier you wanted Matt Ryan on a plane to Green Bay, and now all of a sudden you want him on a plane into a mountain. I don't really know where you're landing on this one, but I'm going to go with the first thing you said. It just sounds more accurate. So when you don't know what to do game-wise, like on a side, DJ, you always got to bet the total. And I looked at this game right away and said, geez, the Bucks can't stop anyone. The Falcons are finally going to get a little offense going. Then I remembered, hey, guess what? The Falcons are on a 2-game win streak. You know why? Because of their defense. The Falcons' offense, dude, on paper, they look like they should be a playoff-worthy, a division-winning team. They should be good. They are not churning out points the way that we would expect them to. Their defense has been good. Jameis Winston is a turnover machine. I just don't anticipate as many points in this game. 51.5 is a decent amount. It's a lot for a pro game. I'm going to take the under on this one. Once again, man, teeter-totter. I am so close to carding this. I had so many I'm on the fringe with. I wish I was in your position where I could just bet 5 units on all of them. But I have a reputation to uphold. I think I used the right word, one of those. I also think I might have interrupted you and didn't let you say one thing that you were going to mention here on this game.
Yeah, I really think we should call our followers Stumblies rather than Drunkies. What a stupid fucking name. God.
Not gonna would if you're with me.
Stumblers is so bad. Stumblies is so bad.
Quit contradicting yourself. Let's move on.
That's what I do.
That's true. Let's go on to the Lions with Jeff Driscoll at quarterback. They're favored. They found a team that they're favored against. 3.5-point favorites at Washington to play the R words. Over under of 41.5. What do you have here?
Well, we got Trev Driscoll versus Dwayne Haskins. Isn't that exciting? What a terrible fucking weekend of quarterback matchups.
This is the ultimate game to bet on, though, because if you're stuck watching it, you got to have a rooting interest.
God, this is another game I can't card. I mean, it's just, I'm looking down at these games, and the next one stinks too. I hate these games. I don't love the card. I don't love the board here. I'm trying to get my thoughts correct. I'm looking at the total here, 41.5. What do I think there? I think this game, here's what I think. 41.5 seems way too low for, I think, a Lions team that can still score. They have good wide receivers. Bull Scarborough out of Alabama, where'd he come back from? I thought he was on an NFL roster. I just assumed any Alabama running back was on an NFL roster in the NFL somewhere. I don't even remember him getting drafted now that I think about it. So you can think that they would be able to score against a very bad Redskins defense, and you would also think the Redskins would be able to score a ton on this Lions defense, who just can't stop the run in general. This actually, looking at this number now, I am going to go gut instinct here. I love the over in this one. 41.5 does not make any sense at all. Both these teams, one of these teams might score 40 points on their own. This doesn't make any sense. I don't know if the backup QB's thing, I don't know, but both these defenses are trash, and this is a game where it could just be back and forth, and I don't think these backup, not so good quarterbacks are going to turn it over against these terrible defenses. 50 units. I'll go 5 units. I got on the over here, 41.5. I'm sticking with the over.
You are going for a shootout in the Jeff Driscoll versus Dwayne Haskins. Bull. What else do you got for me on this one?
Oh, fuck. I forgot about this again. I've got... Oh, wait. Did I already say this?
No, not for the Redskins game, no.
Skull Vikings. Let's win this game.
That one had to hurt a little bit. Casserole? I do not like this game. My advice to any listener out there who is interested in gambling would be to find any other game that I would tell you to bet on besides this one. So I won't spend a lot of time on it. However, I put the Redskins in the same category as like the Bengals and the Dolphins right now. Maybe even like the Giants, a team like that. They're going to pick high in the draft. They don't have a lot going for them right now. Neither do the Lions, though. I mean, you lost Matt Stafford. He looks like he might be done for the season. However, they've kind of hung in there. That game last week, now I'm just blanking on who they even played last week, but it was a fairly good team. It was the Cowboys, I believe. Man, so much closer than it should have been. So it kind of gives me a little bit of hope for them. So if you're a degenerate and you feel the need to bet on every single game, swallow the 3.5 and take the Lions against the R words, because the Lions just have a little bit more going for them than the Redskins do at this point in time.
I'm betting way too many favorites here and overs. I feel like this is trouble.
Well, you still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just take 5 dogs. You'll be fine.
Okay.
Starting here, we got the Jaguars at the Titans. I know that you're not a Nick Foles fan, so I don't know if you're going to take the dog here, because the Titans are favored by 3.5. We have an over/under of 41.
Yeah, toss this game out. I'm not betting on this. I'd rather touch that other game because I don't know if anybody's going to score. They might score. The over/under just doesn't. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it hit the number. Like, I don't know what to expect out of that game. They could go way over. They could score 10 points, and I wouldn't be surprised one way or the other. 3.5. This game's basically, I mean, it's a toss-up in my mind. It's a pick-em to me. It's like whoever, flip a coin, bet the money line if you're going to bet this game on either team.
Right.
I don't like this game at all. If I had to go one way against the spread, Titans at home, I guess I'll favor Tannehill. Nick Foles didn't look great. They threw it too many times. The run game may struggle to get going, but they will get the ball to Leonard Fournette, so that could slow the game down. 3.5. God, I'm changing it. Titans will win by 3. I would go with the Jags because I think the Titans win, but I think the Jags could lose by 3 points in this game. That's what I'll go with, because that half a point really actually is fucking with me right now, because it literally, with 3 points, 2 points seems like the legitimate distance between the score. I think it's going to be really close. One
way or another, one of those teams is going to win by 2 to 3 points.
Yes.
You literally took my take. You played both sides successfully. You've been consistent this podcast. I'm going to give you credit for that. But that's exactly what I was going to say, because if you're telling me I need to pick a team straight up in this game, in this divisional game, when it's this close, I'll usually take the home team. So I would take the Titans. However, when you're getting this game, when it's this close and it's 3.5, and you literally think, the team that has the ball last is going to have a chance to either kick a game-winning field goal, maybe score a touchdown at the end. It's going to be a close game. I'll take the dog, even when the Jaguars are still playing. Like, they're still in it. I'm not quite as down on Nick Foles as you are. I do agree with the fact that they need to get back to the running game. Like you said in our podcast earlier this week, they need to get Fournette going. Fournette needs to find the end zone. 1 touchdown this entire season. Take a little bit of pressure off Nick Foles now that he's back. They can get it done. The Jaguars have a legit pass rush, and if there's one thing Tannehill doesn't have, it's pocket presence. This game could come down to like a strip sack at the end. Jaguars house it for the win. Don't bet on it, but if you are going to, definitely take advantage of that hook. Take the 3.5 points and take the Jaguars. I keep interrupting you again. I feel like you have something to say.
I was hoping you'd forget. I predict that next year will be the year of the tight end. I love tight ends. And you're going to get at least 1, maybe 2 very early. Is this fantasy football or a regular draft?
Oh, fantasy football for sure. I'm sorry. I should have been more specific in that one.
Gotcha.
Cowboys at Patriots. This is freaking close to game of the week. We're not quite to the game of the week because the game of the week is my game of the year when it comes to betting. but this is a close runner-up. We've got the Cowboys at the Patriots. Patriots are favored by 6.5 at home. We have an over-under of 45.5.
All right. This is a good game, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of points. 6.5 points is a lot against the Patriots team. They're really struggling to do anything on offense right now. I'm going to take a dog in this game. I need to take a dog. I like the Cowboys. I think they'll be able to control. If the Patriots, I think, have one weakness, it would be stopping the run. Obviously, the Cowboys' biggest strength. And Dak, the Patriots are going to have trouble with the whole fact that they don't have one guy they can key on, right? They're probably going to take Cooper out of the game. You can't take both Cooper and Zeke out of the game and Michael Gallup. They also have Randall Cobb. They have guys all over the place. Michael Gallup has been dominant these last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Randall Cobb's been better than we anticipated.
Randall Cobb has been really good. Amari Cooper's Amari Cooper.
Right.
And then you're playing with the two-headed now running back monster of Elliott and I can't blank
Tony Pollard.
Yeah. They're just tearing it up. I can't imagine, as long as this play calling, I can see, obviously, Jason Garrett could fuck this up at some point somehow. I just don't think this Patriots team is in what their 9-1 or 9-1 record indicates right now.
Right,
I don't think that they're that. They lose this game at home, and I would sprinkle the money line here. You know what? I'm not gonna do both the spread. I'm only gonna do money line. I'm gonna do a 2-unit bet on the Cowboys money line at the Patriots here.
You're really trying to bump up those negative units this week. Go ahead and let me know your last sentence, and then I'll go ahead and give you my prediction for this game.
I'm not saying this.
You have to for the podcast. Do it for the listeners. Do it for the kids, DJ.
Stick to sports here. This is a stick to sports type of situation.
Say
Are you
it.
kidding me with this trash?
Say it, or I'll do it in your voice.
I would rather have you do it that way. Donald Trump is the top 3 president of all time. Trying to talk me out of it.
Ooh, that's a shocker. I never thought you'd say something like that.
Stick to sports. I'm going to go find out the money line number, by the way, so you talk.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. Straight up in this game, it's almost impossible for me to ever take a team going into New England, especially at this time of the year. It's almost impossible for me to take the opposing team straight up. So I'm not going to do it. I would take the Patriots straight up. But against the spread, I like exactly what you said. The Patriots are probably going to get where they need to be when the season comes towards an end. They're just not there quite yet. And the Dallas Cowboys, man, they're another team that I have a lot of faith in. They had a little bit of a hiccup for a while there, but they're complete. They can get it done defensively. They can get it done on the ground. And Dak Prescott, man, I tried telling you all offseason, Dak Prescott was the quarterback for this team. He's next to get that big contract. He's literally proving that he's the man right now. He's got a lot of talent surrounding him. He's got a really great offensive line. You mentioned all the playmakers. I know that he has a lot going for him, but he's doing it. Like, he's getting it done. He's called upon, and he's getting it done. For that reason, I'll finish it up right here. I'm not carding it, but I'm getting 6.5 points. And, man, these teams are fairly equal. If it wasn't for it being at Foxborough, I'd be all over the Cowboys. But giving me 6.5, I will take the Cowboys against the spread.
What I don't understand is why we aren't comparing Dak Prescott to Tony Romo. They're both guys who play really, really good throughout the season and look like a couple of the best quarterbacks to play the game. But then when they get into these big moments, and that's what I kind of worry about here, playoff games, they choke. That's kind of what they've done. And maybe he's worth the big payday, and Romo was as well, because obviously you're not going to get better than that.
Exactly.
But when it comes to the big games, Dak kind of shrinks. He does. And that was Tony Romo's MO as well. So I know you used that in the last podcast. I don't like that I repeated the MO. But that's like his thing. That's kind of what he does. So I don't know why people haven't been drawing more Dak to Tony Romo. I don't know if it's the black versus white thing, but they have the same type of deal. Like, they both, I think, have this stigma where, and Kirk Cousins says it as well, but you put them into a bigger game, they're going to lose the game for you. And it's held true for Dak. It really has, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah,
actually, they can't beat the Packers. They cannot beat the Packers. Well,
right, but I don't disagree with that comparison. I think that's good. I can't help but think back to one of the recent playoff games that Dak played in. It was that game against the Packers where it was a shootout. It was back and forth. I don't think it was Dak's fault, though. Like, Cowboys couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and Jared Cook made that ridiculous sideline catch. Like, it's like, yeah, you didn't win, so it goes against this record, but it wasn't Dak's fault. Like, it was kind of one of those games where, like, it's a late season or playoff matchup. They should have probably won that game. Like, I don't know if you can put that on Dak. So I want to give it another year before I totally say he doesn't show up in the big game.
But he doesn't win those games. Like, Tony Romo's probably been and able to win those games, but he just hasn't. They just don't win those games.
Because he can't hold a snap.
Yeah, shit happens, man.
Let's go on to the Seahawks at the Eagles. I got the Eagles favored by 1.5 here, over under a 48.
I can't believe that the Eagles are favored here, 1.5.
Weird,
and maybe
isn't it?
The Seahawks, what?
It's weird, isn't it? I was surprised by this spread.
I haven't seen anything out of the Seahawks that I like. I mean, out of the Eagles that I like as far as wide receiver goes. Carson Wentz he should have won that game versus the Patriots the other night. He had 4 or 5 different opportunities to score in, like, the fourth quarter. Right? Like, you need to go score a touchdown when you have that many chances. Your defense is keeping you in it.
Oh, yeah.
You have the chance to score. It doesn't make sense to me that, I don't know, I think it should be even. I guess it's about as close as you can to that. I think this game could go way over, 48 points. 48 points is the over in this game. That's a decent amount of points, but the Eagles secondary is crappy. Mm-hmm. Russell loves to throw it. They're going to throw the ball, and the Seahawks defense just isn't that great either. It's like, I think this is the one game that Carson could actually put up some numbers as well. 48 seems like an easy over. I'm going under 5 units, under 48 points.
I love it. I think you have one more thing to say about this game.
I can't believe I thought Cameron Artis-Payne, this is kind of true, was going to be the long-term solution at running back in Carolina. I don't even think that's that bad. I can jump on that.
I love that one. This is the game where I have opinions. I have strong opinions. However, I'm not carding it because I think you always call it a rat line. This, in my opinion, is that rat line. Dude, I'm all over Seattle in this game. Honestly, going into this, I'm like, yeah, it's in Philly. That's fine. It's a 3:25 start. It's a tough place to play. It's not a great environment. But man, if there's anyone that can do it, it's Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. I figured the Seahawks would be favored by like 3 or 3.5 in this game. So instantly I was like, dude, I'm all about this. This is probably going to be a carded game. And then I'm just like, man, the Eagles are that one team for sure that I don't really have that great grasp on. You talk about their secondary. It's not that good statistically. I feel like it's sort of improved over the last couple of weeks. What did the Patriots do last week? I really thought Tom Brady and like Julian Edelman were going to just go off and have this huge scoring day, and Tom Brady was going to have another 4 or 5 touchdown performance against this terrible secondary. They held them to 17 total points? I think they're slowly improving. I'm just a little bit leery of this team in general. Like I said, I don't have a great grasp on them, so I'm going to pass on this game. However, I am still going to go with my head and my gut on this one. I'm going to say, if you're going to bet it, you have to take Seattle.
Yeah, I wasn't willing to take a side, I guess, in this one. I don't like the line.
Fair enough. Well, this Sunday night game got flexed. And if you don't mind, DJ, I'll lead off on this one because it's the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. We got the 49ers favored by 3. We have an over-under of 47.5. This, DJ, is my gambling 2019 game of the year, lock of the year, whatever you want to call it of the year. This one is mine. So I swear to God, I'm taking the Packers. I'm getting 3 points. I'm getting the better team. I'm getting points. I'm taking it. And I tell you what, if I lose, I'm not going to say what I'm going to do. The ball's in your court. If I lose this one, the ball is in your court. But it is my 5-unit game of the year. A couple of things here for you, DJ. What happened the last time the Green Bay Packers traveled out west?
We got drunk.
You got hammered. You played against a worse team in the Chargers, and you got embarrassed. Guess what is not going to happen 2 times in the same season with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback? That is not going to happen. They had a bye week before that to prep. You give a guy like Aaron Rodgers time to prep, dude, it's going to be lights out. We know that the 49ers have a pretty good defense. It doesn't matter. When you go against elite players, it doesn't matter like how good you are as a sub. They find ways to get people open. They find ways to score. Here's the other thing I wanted to say about the 49ers. Their wins this season against the Buccaneers, trash. Against the Bengals, maybe the worst of all time. Against the Steelers in week 3, that was a terrible team. Against the Browns, underperforming. Against the Rams, underperforming. Against the Redskins, probably a team picking in the top 3. Against the Panthers, real hit or miss. They lost to the Seahawks. They then beat the Cardinals. They've beaten the Cardinals twice. Both of them have literally been like one possession games. I don't count that last game against the Cardinals, a 2-possession game. That was total horseshit.
But they should have lost.
Exactly. 1-possession games against the Cardinals. Now you're getting the Packers on Sunday night. A team that was already out on the West Coast, got totally embarrassed. It's not going to happen again. The Packers are going to win this game straight up. If you're going to give me the 3 points, I'm going to make it my game of the year. Green Bay Packers. I'm not even the Packers fan, but it's done. It's over. Book it.
Yeah, I've been telling people this week, and I never usually am this confident, but I do think the Packers come in, and I honestly think they dominate this game. I think you're going to see Zadarius Smith.
Side note, before we started this, I pulled up our app. I bet on it. Like, I wanted to make sure I got it before that line gets down. I want the 3 points. Give me the 3 points. I already bet on it. I might bet more on it.
I think with Joe Staley, Joe Staley's out again this game. And I think without him,
yeah.
And he struggled when he was back, but without him, and they have some injuries on that offensive line in general. Kittle's questionable.
They're banged up in general. Like, Breida's questionable. He didn't practice today. Kittle didn't practice today. Deebo Samuel didn't practice today.
Yeah. Breida doesn't matter so much. They have too many running backs for that to matter. Kittle, he's going to play. Like, this is too big of a game for him not to just come out there and play the way he hypes himself up.
Right.
I think he should play. We struggle against tight ends. He might have a solid game. Don't really care. But I think Zadarius Smith has 4 sacks. Like, in this, I think he is a nightmare for Jimmy Garoppolo in this game because he's going to come out. He's going to be freaking hyped up for this. And Preston, obviously, the Smith brothers are right now the best pair of like pass rushers in the league just together right now. Kenny Clark, Montravius Adams is back, and you can see. I don't know how much people pay attention, but their rush defense is woefully better when Montravius Adams is able to play because they just are garbage and they have nobody else when Kenny Clark has to play by himself. He's out there. Everybody's healthy for this team right now.
Right.
Everybody is healthy. Savage, Adrian Amos, both cornerbacks and King and Alexander, and they have all things clicking. I think this is going to be one of their best defensive games. I think the 49ers struggle to score. I really do. What everybody's doing is they're daring Jimmy Garoppolo to throw, and the Packers are going to continue to do that, and honestly, they should, because he's going to give you chances. He gave the Seahawks 94 chances. Should have been a blowout, I think, in that game. I just don't trust him. I don't want to put this on my card. I'll probably end up betting the Packers. I don't want to do that, put this on my card at all, but I do think the Packers. Me. I nailed this one out west against the Chargers and said they would lose. I think everybody's expecting a good Sunday night game. I think the Packers win by like 15 on accident.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo. I didn't even say those 2 words. And like you said, teams are going to dare him to make the plays. That game against Seattle, if any of the listeners like stayed up and watched that game, he was hitting dudes from Seattle right between the numbers with multiple passes. That game shouldn't have been as close as it was. Garoppolo is that ultimate question mark at quarterback where he makes the throw and you're like, okay, this is my guy. This is my franchise quarterback. Next possession, he hits the defenders right between the numbers multiple occasions. You just don't know what you have quite yet. And against this defense, a very improved defense, a rested defense, and man, you throw in Aaron Rodgers in that offense, the way the running backs have been playing, I know the 49ers defense is good, but just think back to those teams that they were beating. The stats are sometimes skewed. Also, the take that you're going to have on this one, very interesting, very controversial here.
Christmas music is overrated. It would be a good year if I didn't hear a single Christmas song. The other thing I wanted to say about this game is I think Rodgers actually has a good game. They're going to get the run-in game going. I think that's where the Niners, you notice these really good defenses' biggest weakness is usually against the run. They play that Y9 technique. Aaron Jones will have a solid game, but that's going to open up the play action because that's going to bring those ends in. And Devontae Adams, I'm telling you this right now, he's going to make Richard Sherman look like the biggest fucking idiot in the entire history of the United States. This guy, secondary isn't good. Sherman is not good. He's going to have to PI Devontae all night because he's going to put him in a spin cycle. I've seen Sherman try to cover guys, even in the zone one-on-one. If he has to try to match up, you watch him turn around and run around in circles sometimes and just get completely lost. He has zero chance to be physical against Devontae Adams in this game because Devontae Adams off the line. Name a better wide receiver off the line of scrimmage than Devontae Adams in the NFL. You can't.
Tyreek Hill.
I'm not going to give you a chance. You can't do it. He is going to own Richard Sherman. This is going to be a monster Devontae Adams night after they get Aaron Jones rolling, and they have to respect the run. The 49ers aren't going to score more than 10 points. I'm calling it a shot right now.
Well, my wallet hopes that you're right, and my fantasy team hopes that you're right, because I'm waiting for Devontae Adams to maybe score a touchdown this season. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Well,
we got one game left, DJ. It's Monday night. It's the Ravens, favored by 3 at the Rams, over under a 46.5. What do you have?
God, I just don't. The Ravens defense has played better than it has for a long time.
Yep.
And the Rams offense looks like just trash now.
I heard a stat that the Ravens are scoring on over 50% of their drives.
At 3 points on the road still doesn't even seem like enough. The smart bet's the Ravens. The right bet's the Ravens. I'm betting the Rams. That's all the analysis I'm giving you. +3 at home. Let's go win this game. 5 units Ram, +3. Maybe sprinkle the money line a little bit. It doesn't make sense at all. That's why I'm doing it.
I know that was short and sweet. I think you have one more sentence for me.
Brett Favre is greater than Aaron Rodgers.
Beautiful.
That one is the one that actually hurts the most.
You can say Skull all day. You can talk about Tyreek, but when you bring in Aaron Rodgers like that, it kind of hurts, DJ.
I don't like that one.
So what your original theory was by taking the Ravens and everything, I'm all about that. I'm actually doing 2 units on the Ravens here, and maybe there's a little bit of recency bias on this one, and you have the Ravens going from a big high because everyone thought that game last week against the Texans was going to be game of the week material, and it was really just never in doubt. Baltimore just dominated it. Excuse you. And then just really thought more from the Rams this year at home. I don't care. It's LA. They're not going to play any better at home than they would be on the road. The Ravens have just looked so complete right now, and I know we dog Lamar Jackson a lot right now, but the dude is the front runner for the MVP. Exactly what Mark Ingram said. This feels like maybe I'm getting trapped. So in the event that I lose this one, it'll be a life lesson. It'll be don't fall for the recent trend and the recent result. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to go 2 units on the Ravens here to close out Monday. Hopefully I'm not chasing. Hopefully I hit my 5 unit play on the Packers. And hopefully at this point it's just the icing on the cake for the betting week.
Yeah, I think it seems like I'm probably going to win every game that I bet on this week.
You got a hell of a card here, DJ. Do you even have time to recap your card?
All right. So we got Broncos at Bills.
I'm going to grab a beer quick while you do this.
Okay. We've got Broncos at Bills. We're taking the Bills -3.5 or 5 units. We're taking the Steelers-Bengals over 39, 5 units. We got the Bears. I'm taking Bears -6 versus the Giants, 5 units. Raiders versus Jets over the 46.5, 5 more units. Falcons versus Bucks. I'm taking the Bucks -4.5 points. I'm taking the Falcons -4.5 points, 5 units. Lions versus Redskins over. Way too many overs, way too many favorites. Lions versus Redskins over 41.5 points, 5 units. Cowboys money line +250 versus the Pats. That's a pretty penny. 2 units. Seahawks versus the Eagles under the 48, 5 units. Rams +3 versus the Ravens, 5 units. I'm sure on Sunday I won't bet 90% of these this way, but I want to at least have a good record on here.
For the podcast, you need it, is basically what you're telling me. All right, my quick recap, much faster than DJ's, who literally just recapped every single game that we're playing. I have got the Jets +3 against the Raiders for a single unit. I have the Ravens on Monday night favored by 3 over the Rams for 2 unit. And my game of the year, Green Bay Packers getting 3 points Sunday night against the 49ers. And DJ, you have literally, we're recording this Wednesday night. We'll record the next one probably next Wednesday night. You basically have a week in case the Packers don't make it to get back at me. How did all those sentences feel for you? You feeling like a new man? Do you feel like an asshole for like contradicting yourself? What are your thoughts right now?
Those are just words, man. The only one that really got me was the Tyreek Hill line. I was just like, fuck it. But that one really got to me. I was like, what the fuck am I reading here? Honestly, and I just realized you only have 3 bets, right?
Correct.
I have 3 times as many as you. I have 9.
Well, you just look at our overall records for the year. I mean, I've made literally 40 bets. You have 36 losses.
That's how we fucking do it, baby.
Stat of the day right there.
I love the board. Honestly, what I need to start doing is after 6 o'clock college football games, I may be one of the best gamblers in the United States of America, and I'm just going to start putting those ones online because I made all of my money that I lost early Saturday back plus $100, a few thousand bills Saturday night. It was incredible. I didn't lose a game. I lost 1 game on Saturday night after 6, and I bet like 7. It was ridiculous.
So what I think you're saying is bet those games, win, forget that you have a phone charger, let your phone die, and then you won't be able to bet on Sunday.
Yeah, I have a computer.
Shit, you need to lose a couple of chargers.
I'll find a way. I can't even screw myself over from gambling. I will find a way to get to it.
That's what degenerates do. Well, as always, check us out on Twitter at LoadedBox. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.com. Our start sits articles, our sleeper articles, our DFS articles, all of our podcasts can be found there. Next episode, we'll be back next week, week 13, fantasy football preview. Available on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe, rate, review. DJ, send us into this damn weekend.
Bye.